In the not-too-distant future, it's time for Geek Bombast, the weekly podcast dedicated to bringing you news, reviews, and general discussion on comics, movies, TV, video games, and anything else deemed totally awesome. On the show this week is Amanda Arias and myself, John Sitton. How's it going?
Pretty good. Feels like you almost ran out of breath. Just a hair's breadth away from going full like blue face on that one.
Oh yeah. No, I'm also because these are lavalier mics, I'm still working with what the best position is on my microphone for me. Mm-hmm. Because I never feel like I'm in the right, like it's in the right spot. So if it moves, I apologize for listeners.
I mean, I'm fine with it.
Well, you're fine with it, but it's just there might be moments where they hear me fiddling with my mic because I'm trying to find the right.
Does it sound like you punching your microphone over?
No, but you can hear it kind of like.
Yeah.
Like very faint. It happened a few times in the last. Also, my beard sometimes rubs up against it.
Mine too.
When I had a beard, anyways.
My beard, it's just all up in the.
It's all up in it.
Yeah.
But
I just clipped my microphone to my beard. And that's why it sounds so good.
That was my original plan, was to just clip it to my beard, but, didn't seem to really work, especially after I shaved.
Yeah. Just clip it to your chin. It's off to the side.
So this is the third episode of the newly rebooted Geek Bombast.
The MST3K episode.
Yeah. We're this episode's gonna be dedicated to riffing and MST3K and.
So let's be funny in it for once.
Oh no. No, I totally. That's let's totally be funny. But
He's looking at his notepads like cross that off.
Okay, can't use that joke. That joke's gone. Oh man, I really wanted to use this dad joke. No. You know me, I love puns.
Of course.
But I apparently love puns for a different reason than most.
You love puns because you like making everyone around you miserable.
Yes, actually, I like inflicting the pain on other people. I like their look of pain when I say it.
Yeah.
Whereas other people generally think they're being funny when they say it.
Yeah, they're like, this is a good joke, and you live for that. Ugh.
Don't get me wrong, there are some pun jokes that are actually pretty freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
But
well, there's something funny about being clever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know, but the other people say so.
Yeah, no, same here. So this week, the reason we're talking about MST3K is because there's a lot of MST3K stuff going on right now.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan, I'm a huge Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan, and I know you enjoy it.
I dabble.
You dabble.
I enjoy it. I wouldn't call myself like a diehard fan. I thought I was, and then I met you, and I was like, oh, I'm just a casual fan.
No, I watch a lot of it. I own a lot of it. Mm-hmm. I kickstarted the return of season
11,
and we can go into a lot more about that stuff in a little bit. But we still haven't, with it being the third episode. Also, it's a little weird because of the way I'm recording and then posting the episodes. Because I'm recording them way before I post them.
Yeah.
If anything, they're usually about a week behind, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which maybe we'll get better with that. Maybe not.
We'll see.
Feel like I'm getting into a rhythm with it, recording, kind of being like.
Well, get ready for your rhythm to be all screwed up because the holidays are not too far away.
Yeah. That's gonna definitely mess up some stuff with the holidays, but. Yeah, so we don't really have any questions yet. Not a lot of people. One thing I will say is subscribe to our YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say, if you're doing a search on YouTube for Geek Bombast, it pulls up our Geek Bombast extra page.
Yeah.
Which, if you're subscribed to that, that's great. But that's not the one we need you to subscribe to. We need you to subscribe to the one that has the episodes posted on it. Mm. Now, there is a link on the sidebar of the extras page to the primary page, but we need as many people to subscribe to that as possible so that I can change the name of the new page, because right now the new page just like YouTube ID number blah 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 blah. I think you have to have like 100 subscribers, be active for a full 30 days, have an icon, have an updated page art, which the only two things we don't have are active for 30 days, posting content, and the 100 subscribers on it. So if we can get to 100 subscribers on that, I can change. Because right now the Geek Bombast extra page is actually youtube.com/users/Geek Bombast. If we can get 100 on the new page, I can change that to Geek Bombast extra, and then change the new page to Geek Bombast.
Yeah.
Very confusing. I'm sure a lot of people.
Basically, what we're saying is we need you guys to subscribe to our YouTube page. So when you go to YouTube and you type Geek Bombast, look for the latest podcast episode.
Yeah.
You'll know because it'll have a much more recent date.
Yes.
And you click on that, and through that you can subscribe.
And at some point, I think I said it in the first episode, and I'm saying it now. At some point, I'm going to put a video on the Geek Bombast extra page to say, hey, this is like our secondary page now. Please go and direct to the new page. So that's something I'm hoping to do here in the future. I just haven't had the time to, with Halloween and all sorts of other stuff.
Well, yeah, and like starting everything up with the recording, getting back into editing and everything like that.
Yeah, and then also friends' weddings, and turns out I had a lot of friends that that either previously got married in October or are getting married in November. Yeah. Like in October and November. It's like surprisingly a lot of them.
Yeah.
So it's weird in that regard. But you know, and then as far as, you know, contacting us, you can always send an email to geekbombast@gmail.com. We are on Twitter at Geek Bombast. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/Geek Bombast, which most people, I'm pretty sure, already know that, because a lot of our listeners are subscribed to us on Facebook, in which we do interact if we can. And then we're now on Instagram.
Yeah, we got the Instagram going.
I finally broke down and
it's just at Geek Bombast, right?
Yeah. Got at Geek
I can't
Bombast.
believe that wasn't taken.
Why would it have been taken?
Because Instagram's been around for a long time. Like, the longer something...
How many Geek Bombasts do you think there are?
I just feel like that's not two completely uncommon words.
Okay, well, I do. I mean, that's kind of why we chose it originally.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted something different originally, and then Rod pulled me back to that, and Geek Bombast worked. So
Rod's the winner here.
Yeah, well, it's still vaguely what I originally wanted, but...
Is this one of those, I really like the jokes of things going on for too long, and then you made a longer, it was like Geek Bombast, the podcast, blah, 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 like the whole title?
No. This was, I wanted it called something different because there was a word that I just was really just enamored with that Rod didn't like. Because I think it was like fanboy, or, you know, the like fanboy rhetoric roundtable or something like that. But I really just loved the word rhetoric.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to use...
He was like, you need to not.
He was like, let's not do that. How about also, instead of using the word fanboy, why don't we do geek? And then let me look at synonyms for rhetoric and bombast. And he was like, that sounds good. Bombast, geek, bombast. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. That does work.
Yeah.
And so we went with that. History lesson.
Yay.
But yeah, so go follow us on Instagram. You know, I'll be posting photos of stuff on there.
Yeah,
I already have.
Well, yeah, a lot of times you'll see what's coming up, I think, because you posted pictures from our outing at the MST3K live event.
Correct, yeah.
So
I
you'll know
that
before others do.
Yeah, and
what we'll be talking about.
Yeah, and for future episodes, I may, like, I know for the next episode, I'm going to actually make a post saying, hey, here's who's on the next episode. Here's the topic we're doing.
Got any questions? Slide up in our DMs.
Yeah, slide them in, you know, and the questions don't necessarily have to be about the topic, but I figure...
That just means there'd be a good time to send those questions in, because they will be timely.
So yeah, so sending in questions, like you said, they'll be timely, because you'll know what the topic is. But like I said, if you have questions that aren't related to a topic that we're doing, send them in anyways. I'll probably still ask them. You can send them in on the email address that I've mentioned, on our Twitter, on Facebook.
Yeah, all our socials.
Yeah, all the social media stuff. Feel free to post it on there, post questions. And, you know, also, you know, just share the podcast in general. We really appreciate that. I mean, we lost, unfortunately, while a lot of the subscribers on Facebook and on YouTube and on followers on Twitter, we didn't really lose those people because they never unsubscribed.
Right.
I feel like on Facebook we're not hitting those people because of the way Facebook does their algorithms now.
All the algorithms are like that. Instagram, because we're new on Instagram, it's less so, but Instagram and Twitter also have algorithms where it's like if you're not getting that fan interaction, they just won't show up on people's feeds anymore.
Yeah, so I mean, definitely, you know,
like, reply back, repost, you know, share to other people, anything like that you feel can help. That's a great way to help.
Yeah, that's going to be the best way to help us right now, and especially while I'm trying to get back into the groove of recording, editing, posting in a timely manner, because that's what this whole, from when we started to January, that's what this is me getting into the groove of doing all this podcasting stuff again, because it's been a while.
Yeah.
So if you could do that, I'd really appreciate it. But before we actually get into the main topic, I want to talk about the news. All right, so for the news, the first thing I have up here is going to be, there's going to be a Men in Black and Ghostbusters crossover, but not in the way that you think.
Comic books then?
No, actually not comic books at all. So I actually got this from IDW's website. Apparently both IDW and Sony have joined forces in a plan to develop tabletop games based on individually on both Ghostbusters, which has already been a few for Ghostbusters. They're going to develop some more. And then there's also going to be some developed for Men in Black. But the centerpiece of this is going to be a game called Men in Black Ghostbusters Ecto-Terrestrial Invasion, in which it'll be a miniatures-loaded board game featuring the world's foremost protectors teaming up to take down a threat unlike any have faced before.
Ghost aliens! Ghosts of Mars! This is a John Carpenter game!
Making up the Ghostbusters team will be Peter Venkman, Egon Spangler, Ray Stantz, and Winston Zedmore, and the MIB team will consist of Agent J, Agent K, Agent L, and Agent Z.
So literally the main characters of one franchise and the main characters of the other franchise.
These two teams will have to face unearthly threats may have faced unearthly threats before. The strength of the ecto-terrestrials is nearly overwhelming, but that doesn't mean there can't be a little friendly competition between the two groups. New character designs by fan-favorite artist Derek Laufman. Innovative gameplay designed by Panda Cult Games. They made Wander, the Cult of Barnacle Bay. Never heard of that. So, but for tabletop fans, they may know that.
They're like, you idiot.
It features a blend of fast-action dice chucking, and that's what they said.
Wailing on people with dice.
Literally, I'm reading this from their website.
Please don't chuck your dice at people.
Yeah, dice rolling, take that card play. So basically, roll dice card, and then highly detailed sculpted miniatures from Ninja Division, who did a game called Super Dungeon Explorer. If you want to see some, Amanda, if you want to see some of the artwork
nice,
for it.
Kind of almost chibi-ish.
Yeah, a little chibi-ish. But yeah, they're saying that the board game will release in 2019. Jerry Bennington, IDW's VP of New Product Development, says, "We are excited to bring these two iconic properties together, along with an amazing group of development partners. We love the fun story we are telling with this game and hope fans will bring it to the tabletop again and again." So the idea, basically, from what some people have gathered, is that it's going to be some story where aliens have teamed up with ghosts and also ghost aliens. So there's like going to be...
That's a weird combination.
Yeah.
I'm not against it. It's just weird to think about like aliens being like, I'm going to contact the ghosts, and the ghosts are like, I'm down for this interaction, and then it's just a weird... the other version, you know, like the MIB and the Ghostbusters being like, we should work together, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But when you look at it from the other perspective,
yeah, no, I agree. But you know, as a game, it seems like it could be fun. So I guess it'd be like up to 2 to 8 players.
Oh, so, nice. So either 1-in-1 Ghostbuster and MIB person, or full teams.
Yes. And the main reason for this board game thing is that 2019, specifically June of 2019, will be the 35th anniversary of Ghostbusters.
Nice.
And also there is a Men in Black movie set to be released in June, or set to start filming in June.
I think it's released in June. I think they're filming it now.
Okay, yeah. So that's kind of the reason for the partnership, is Sony really wants to get the brand out there, and IDW's like, we do board games now, so let's do it. Also, why not do a Ghostbusters? I mean, come on. There was the animation block where it was Extreme Ghostbusters and Men in Black on like UPN.
Those were really
back
great.
In the day.
Yeah, I was super into those cartoons.
It was Extreme Ghostbusters, Men in Black, and Godzilla. If I remember correctly, those were the 3 shows that were together, and it was awesome.
Yeah, that Godzilla cartoon was better than the movie it was based on.
Oh yeah, it was way better. It was actually that, like, I know hardcore Godzilla people who hate the movie, and I'm not talking about Matt Frank, even though he is one of them.
Yes.
But I know other people who just like vehemently hate the American movie, but love that cartoon.
And yet, I loved the old Godzilla movies, and the cartoon we got out of that was Godzilla and Godzuki.
Yeah. Hanna-Barbera, yeah.
I'm not sure how that happened, or why. Or why. Or why.
Because Godzilla was popular with the kids.
Right, but he didn't have Godzuki. Well, he had Minya. All right, I'll shut up.
He had Minya, or Junior, or whatever you want to call him.
There's 2 different ones.
Yeah. But yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool to bring up. When I saw that, I was like, well, I gotta talk about that.
Yeah, I'm into it. We should play it.
Yeah. Also, speaking of other 80s properties coming back in some way, shape, or form, did you ever watch the movie The Explorers? It was about 3 kids who build a spaceship, and then
like Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, Ethan Hawke, and I think River Phoenix was in it, and then some other dude.
I vaguely remember this from my childhood.
Yeah, Ethan Hawke's first movie, and it co-stars River Phoenix. It's actually one of my
favorite
kids movies, because it's just so weird.
Is it like Flight of the Navigator-y?
Kind of, yeah.
That kind of like, we didn't really give you a good explanation, but here's a movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's also weird because, like, there's a lot of stuff with aliens invading dreams, and there's, like, this horror aspect, and then they circumvent that horror, and then they bring it back as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. But Deadline is actually reporting that Cary Fukunaga and David Lowery are teaming up to write a TV pilot script for a new series based on The Explorers. The film... So basically the idea is it's the Monster Squad or Goonies meets Flight of the Navigators, essentially.
Right. This is going to be a more sci-fi based Stranger Things.
Basically, that's what a lot of people are saying.
That's what it sounds like.
For anyone who is not familiar with those 2 names that I just mentioned, Fukunaga is best known for directing much of the first season of True Detective. He also helped bring It to the big screen, so he was behind the new It movie coming out. And also recently created Netflix's show Maniac, which is, I've never watched it, but I've heard people say it was interesting.
Really good, yeah.
Yeah. And he was also apparently selected to direct the new James Bond movie as well. Lowry directed Disney's underrated remake of Pete's Dragon. At least the article I'm reading says underrated remake. I don't know if that's actually.
Pete's Dragon. I did not know they remade Pete's Dragon.
I did.
Or I did, and I blocked it from my memory.
I did. I just never went and saw it because it was weird. But also did the film A Ghost Story.
Oh, okay. That's weird. The Casey Affleck movie?
Yeah. He also directed that. But the duo will write a script and the show Bible, and then one of them is going to direct. Either one will direct the pilot should it get picked up past the script. So the show is being made by Paramount Television.
So we'll never see it.
But yeah, so we may never see it, but it's being...
I just mean because we don't have... we're not going to stream Paramount.
Yeah,
so.
well, I mean, it could just be on CW or something. I don't know.
Also, Paramount has been... Well, Paramount has their own streaming service because they did the Heather's television series.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that streams on their streaming service, which also tells me that they're just taking all their old 80s movies and making television series off of them and then streaming them.
But yeah, it's being pitched as, like you said, a more sci-fi slanted Stranger Things, which could be fun.
Yeah, I'm not against it. I'm just annoyed by it. I mean, a good show's a good show no matter what, but sometimes pitches can be really annoying, and when it's like the thing everybody likes mixed with new thing or older thing.
Well, here's something a little bit more original. Mm-hmm. Netflix. You know how they release like 1 million shows every week.
Right.
They're really, since Disney announced that they're doing their own streaming service, and they've been pulling a lot of their animated shows from Netflix. Netflix has been on a hardcore animation push. Like they've gotten like all of like the big name animation team. Like right now is the Dragon Prince is out on Netflix, and then Voltron, and like they're making a hardcore push for people to come in. And the big thing is like they're not even, apparently according to a lot of these creators, they're just coming in and being like, you do whatever you want, we don't care, we'll just throw money at it.
Yeah, I think that's why Del Toro did the Troll Hunter series with them. He produced it, and they just kind of let him do whatever he wanted.
Yeah, so I mean that's been the big thing, but so they just announced a new set of animated directors that they're giving shows to, and the biggest one to me, and also maybe to you, is that Variety is reporting that Jorge Gutierrez, who is the director and creator of Book of Life. I think he also did a cartoon called El Tigre.
Yes, that was... what channel was that?
I think it was Disney.
Yeah.
It was either Disney or Cartoon Network.
It was that, like, Disney Extreme, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
But he is going to be directing a series called Maya and the Three. It's a 9-episode limited series set to release in 2021, as well as... and it'll also have... he will co-write and co-executive produce... with another animator called Selena Olivius, who did a thing called Elena of Avalor. And then also Moana's Jeff Ranjo will serve as a head of story for this show called Maya and the Three. Gutierrez tells Variety that it's basically Mexican Lord of the Rings, but hilarious.
Yeah, that sounds like something he would do. He's a giant nerd,
yeah,
but also very steeped in the Mexican culture.
Oh yeah, no, I was watching before we started recording. When I was trying to find all these news things, I watched a video. It was a YouTube clip, I think, from Variety, where they interviewed a bunch of the creators, and like they got the guy who's doing the Powerpuff Girls is doing a series. One of the head guys of Gravity Falls is doing a series for Netflix. Oh my God. Like literally, it's literally a smorgasbord of who's who in animation, directing and show running and writing, of like all coming in doing animated movies, animated TV shows. Like again, Netflix is like, we're losing Disney, let's throw as much money at animators and let them do whatever they want, so that and a lot of those animators like, this feels like nothing we've ever done before, and could be the forefront of a animation revolution as far as
like a new golden age for animators, because they have a much more open ability, because Disney has a very strict guideline on looks and presentations and stuff, and DreamWorks has a copycat version of that where they have a very specific look and idea of what they want. So if Netflix is like, do what you want, we could end up with different art styles, different like methods of storytelling and everything like that. I mean, Netflix is also to go back to Guillermo del Toro, because I only know things that involve him. I don't know if it's made for sure, like if it's a certain thing, but I know that for a while recently they were in talks to have him do his once previously shelved Pinocchio movie, which is a stop animation film that he was been trying to get off the ground. So,
but I thought it was hilarious because when in the video, Gutierrez, he was like, yeah, see, I like to draw and I like animation, and I just really wanted there to be more TV that represented people like me.
Yeah.
And because there is none, so that's why all my shows have like a huge Mexican Hispanic bent on them. He's like, he goes, I actually take the idea of lucha libre to my animating, which is freeform. And the freedom of creation is what it is, and then he puts on a Netflix logoed luchador mask and does the rest of the interview wearing that mask.
Nice. Was it like wrestling promo style?
No, it was just like he just put it on. He's like, I'm really glad to be here, and I'm really glad to do it. It's like joining Maya and the Three in Netflix announcements is a show called Kid Cosmic, a new superhero show from Powerpuff Girls' Craig McCracken that follows a young boy having his dreams being a superhero answered when he finds some cosmic stones, and then also an adaptation of Ruth Stiles Garnett's children's novel My Father's Dragon, directed by Nora Twomey and written by Meg LaFarve, as it follows a young runaway in his quest to find a captive dragon on a mysterious island. So there's literally just a ton of stuff going on here with Netflix. So if you're an animation fan, which I would like to think that both of us are, there's going to be a lot of stuff to watch on Netflix. Not that there's not already a lot of stuff to watch on Netflix.
Because we don't have 7 million things that we have to watch that we haven't watched yet.
Yeah. But I thought that would be interesting to bring up.
It was. I agree.
Finally, something that you pointed out to me earlier today, that I actually then ran across a news article talking about it over on Comic Book Resources. A lot of people are kind of really there's a rumor going around about Captain America.
Oh, yeah.
So Chris Evans, he's being very coy about whether or not his Steve Rogers Captain America will die or retire in the next movie, because he's not going to say it. If his character does die, he's not going to be like, oh yeah, my character dies.
Yeah.
If he, doesn't die but retires or something like that, he's not, he wants people to go see the movie. He's not going to spoil the movie ahead of time.
Yeah, all he said is that, I believe he's openly said that he's done.
Yeah, it's like he's not filming anymore after this.
Yes.
How the character ends up, we'll have to go see the movie to find out. But a lot of people are speculating that someone else is going to take up the role of Captain America.
Right.
Whether it's a new character with a different name, maybe the character who became the second Captain America, who eventually became Nomad, I can't think of his name right now in the comics, or if it's Bucky or even Falcon that takes over the mantle or whatever. But a lot of people are basically thinking that it's going to be, whoever it is, it's going to be actor John Cena that fills...
That's really generous of you to call him actor John Cena.
Wrestler.
Professional wrestler. Invisible Man, John Cena.
Yeah, that was my thing. I was like, it's like, how are people going to... They can't even see him. How are people going to be able to watch a movie of him as Captain America? It's
just going to be a shield floating in there.
Yeah. But apparently, it has been confirmed that John Cena did audition for some type of part with Marvel. No one knows what it is. No one knows what it's in regards to. For all we know, it could just be doing a voice on a cartoon, because he has been doing a lot of those lately. But it's or an appearance on a TV show. Especially now that Disney is ramping up their TV shows to appear on their streaming service.
Right. There's nothing that says he's not going to be some random villain or like a henchman that gets a little more screen time than other henchmen. Or
in all honesty, given his look, I would actually cast him as a character that already appeared in the Netflix Jessica Jones series. But as a villain named Nuke, who's basically like this military shirtless, like military pants, and then has the American flag painted over his face.
Oh yeah, I always forget about him.
Because John Cena looks exactly like that guy.
Yeah,
like kind
that's
of
weird.
Yeah, I would think that that'd be an interesting thing as a potential villain to put up against both Bucky and Falcon in their upcoming their upcoming Disney streaming service that's been show that's been rumored to go around. I think that'd be cool. That's just my own personal, like, as soon as I heard the rumor that he had read this, I was like, oh man, it'd be great. But the reason people are thinking that it might actually be Captain America, or at the very least Captain America related, is because John Cena posted an image
Ugh,
of the
Jesus.
shield with no text on it on his Twitter and Instagram.
So, if you're new to John Cena,
Yeah.
you might not know that he constantly does this.
Yeah. No.
He is famous for it. So like the reason why comic book fans are like flipping out is because they don't know that every wrestling event he'll post a picture of like some wrestler that hasn't wrestled in WWE for a long time, and everyone goes, oh, John Cena just confirmed that this guy is coming back. Meanwhile, that guy doesn't come back, and John Cena just posted a picture and you guys flipped out about it.
Well, I mean, for example, when it got announced that HBO was doing a Watchmen series, John Cena posted an image that was Watchmen related with no text, just the image.
And then everyone flipped their lid.
Everyone flipped their lid and went, well, maybe. Some people are speculating that he did this because he knew he was going to do that audition and just wanted fan support. No one knows what the audition was for. Right. Again, maybe he is going to play Captain America, but he's going to be the voice of Captain America in an animated cartoon. It could be literally anything.
I don't think he'd be a good voice. I don't think he'd be a good Captain America. Personally.
Yeah.
And this isn't just because I don't like him, because I don't. Like, I'm trying to think that I do, but I just, God, I feel like he would make a better villain.
Yeah. No, I think it's funny, because, I mean, he's currently doing the voice of the villain in the Ninja Turtles cartoon.
Right.
And then he's doing some animated show for YouTube Red that I can't think of what it's called. But it's like him and... oh God, I can't remember the female actress's name. But it was one of the female actresses that was in Scott Pilgrim, if I'm not mistaken.
Aubrey Plaza?
No, it's not Aubrey Plaza. I can't remember. Anyways, doesn't matter. But yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up and point out that you were right. I was wrong. Did was
you not
actually
believe
a thing.
me?
I was like, "There's no way that's an actual thing."
That's so funny.
It's like it's impossible that's an actual thing.
When we talked, you didn't even imply that you didn't believe me.
Well, it was
you
like
just sat and lied to me.
No, it's just I don't know. I just was like,
I was
like,
I could trust you.
No, I believe that you thought it was a thing, and that you possibly even read somewhere of someone speculating about it.
Yeah, you thought I just followed some random fan page or something.
But I don't know. Lords of Pain and a few of the other wrestling news websites that we follow, the Dirt Sheets, they post some really stupid things sometimes. That when I go
That's
look
not
more...
even where I got it from.
Okay, I don't even know where you got it from.
I'm so insulted.
I'm
Our
sorry.
marriage is built on lies.
Okay. But that's all the news I have. So that's all the news that's fit to be news. Okay. Time for the main event, the general discussion of this week, which is Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yep.
As we talked about at the beginning of the show, Mystery Science Theater 3000 is a big thing for me because I've fallen in love with it. Because I think everyone kind of made jokes at the TV, and it's kind of just a thing that people did.
Right.
And then now there's a TV show, and even the idea of a TV show where jokes are inserted or said over the movie is not really entirely original with MST3K, because there were horror hosts that did it.
Yeah, you had Elvira and Svengoolie.
Yeah, and while they didn't have silhouettes over the screen and talk at the screen while the movie's going on, they did sometimes insert jokes into the movie while it's playing. Obviously they kind of riffed on the movie during commercial breaks and things like that. So this MST3K was kind of a thing to take it to the next level, and it's also one of those ideas that I think everyone who sees it for the first time, who does talk at the TV screen or movie screen or whatever, went, oh man, that's such a genius idea. Why wasn't how didn't I think of that? Yeah.
Why didn't I do it first?
Yeah, how could I have not done it first, or how could I have done that? So I'm a huge nerd for it. I've been watching it. I think I first watched it when it was right after Mike took over, when it was still on Comedy Central. because I think a cousin had it, and whenever I'd go stay with them for the summer, like we'd stay up really late on nights that we're not supposed to, and then sneak into.
It's summer. You're allowed to stay up as late as you want. All summer long.
Their parents were very like, you got to be in bed by no later than 10 p.m. and
they were wrong.
And if we catch you not asleep,
beaten,
you're in trouble, kind of thing. So we would sneak into, because like my older cousin had a small television in her room, and so she'd knock on, come out, sneak out, knock on the door, and be like, hey, it's almost time, and then we'd sneak in there, and we'd all sit around and heard this tiny ass TV with the volume turned so low that we could barely hear it.
Yeah.
And then we'd watch, and then she was like, I gotta show you, John, we gotta show you the show that we watch. This is regularly comes on, and it was all reruns. So one night it would be a Mike episode, one night it would be a Joel episode. So I kind of.
Yeah, you kind of got introduced to him at the same time.
Yeah, and so it was kind of like for me, there was neither was better than the other. It was just.
Whereas for me, it's all about Mike.
Yes. But then, as time went on, it got canceled on Comedy Central and then got picked up by Sci-Fi Channel, which, because I had known of it, I had seen the movie. Like, we got the Sci-Fi Channel before it had come out, and I knew about the movie. I actually got to go see the movie in theaters because it was like a limited run kind of thing, and I loved the movie. And that was, I think, my mom's first introduction to it, and she thought it was hilarious. And then when it finally premiered on Sci-Fi Channel, it was kind of a regular thing that me and her would watch a lot. So we would watch those, like, every Saturday. We'd watch a new, they would show a bunch of episodes. So. Yeah. So I mean, that was something we watched a lot of growing up. So it's kind of, I've always been a huge fan of it.
Yeah, it's been integrated in your life for a long period of time.
Yeah, and and then it got canceled on Sci-Fi Channel and disappeared for however many years outside of the Shout Factory and Rhino Video DVD releases, which I bought as many as I could of those, and so I have a ton of them.
Yep. Yes, you do.
Not enough, though, because I don't have all of them.
I know.
Makes me sad because a few of them will never be, a few of them were out of print because they lost the rights to the film and they'll never be re-released, and they're impossible to find.
Yeah.
It sucks. But yeah, so there was the Kickstarter a few years ago. I want to say like 2, 3, 4 years ago. It was a while back.
Right.
There was the Kickstarter, which I did kickstart it. Then we got a new season with a new cast, new network. It's now on Netflix.
Yep.
The first season was 14 episodes because that's what the Kickstarter promised. And new host Jonah Ray. Jonah Heston for the show. I actually like Jonah. Like, I liked him immediately.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't dislike Jonah.
A lot of people do not like Jonah. Are like, who the hell's this guy? Where's Mike? Where's Joel? Why would you bring this show back with this buffoon?
Because nobody wants to see a 50-year-old guy yelling at the screen. That's like, get off my lawn, get off my celluloid. Like, come on.
Yeah. But and also they replaced the voice of Crow and Tom Servo with new younger guys as well, because
the other guys are doing riff tracks, right?
Yeah, because Mike, Kevin Murphy, and Bill Corbett, Mike Nelson, those three guys do riff tracks, which they're doing great with riff tracks. I love riff tracks. Yeah.
That's where you watch the 50-year-old guys yelling at the screen.
Yeah, they're the ones that yell at the screen and do make me watch movies that I wouldn't have even watched on MST3K otherwise.
Sure.
Birdemic.
Yeah, I would never.
And The Room. I have literally only ever watched The Room as a riff tracks.
I've never watched The Room all the way through.
Yeah.
And I watched Birdemic once because somebody was like, I hear it's like so bad it's good, like Killer Clowns from Outer Space or something like that. And then I watched it and I was like, no, this is like bad, and not in like so bad it's good. It's so bad it's really bad. You guys should not watch it. It's really bad.
Yeah. But you get I'm one of the few people that I think I came out right out of the gate and loved all of the new season of season 11. Like, I love Reptilicus. I love Cry Wilderness. It's weird because I think when I first watched it, I didn't really care for Avalanche. Yeah. Or is that what it was? It was Avalanche?
Wasn't it?
Yeah. I can't remember if that's the title of it or not. I wasn't a big fan of that, and I thought I was going to be a real big fan of Star Crash and some of the later episode ones, and those are actually the episodes I don't return to.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? What's the difference?
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I just don't return to those later in the season episodes. Like, I feel like those first 4 or 5 episodes are like really, really strong. And then after that, after those first 4 or 5, I feel like they're kind of hit and miss.
I felt oddly different about that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like opposite. It's not like, I felt like they were really weird in the beginning and then they got better in the end. I feel like it was just like per episode. Sometimes it would be a hit, sometimes it would be a miss. Sometimes the inner cuts, the little like in between stuff would be good, but then their riffing wouldn't be good, or sometimes their riffing would be good and then those little interjections were like meh.
Yeah, I do feel like sometimes with certain episodes their riffing got kind of mean.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there are just some random episodes of Mike and Joel episodes where they just kind of go mean-spirited with it.
Yeah, and I didn't really like that. Like, I feel like what was it, the Christmas that almost wasn't? I feel like they didn't know how to riff it, so they just got really mean with it, and I didn't really enjoy it. But for the most part, I thought all of it was good. Like, I actually really enjoyed season 11. I really enjoy Jonah as a...
Yeah, I liked him as a host. I actually like the dynamic of him and the bots. I like that they had fun with the introduction of new bots.
Yeah.
Introduction and destruction of new bots. Because I like that they played with expectation of like, you guys... It's all new robot voices. It's a whole new host. I bet they're going to add just a bunch of new robots and do whatever they want. And then they kind of do that in a way to poke fun at the fandom a little bit.
Yeah.
And I kind of appreciated that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I will also say the character, because if you actually look at the way the characters are introduced in the show, Joel is kind of a, they classify him as just another face in red jumpsuit.
Right.
He does his job good, but for whatever reason his bosses hated him and kidnapped him and shot him into space. And the old KTMA episodes, it's the quote for the line is, Joel says, whenever you get lemons you make lemonade, and which they changed that lyric for later shows, but that's kind of his personality. It's like, well, this is my life, let's make the best of it. I'm gonna make these robots to give me companionship, and let's try to keep our sanity by making fun of these movies.
Yeah.
And then Mike is a temp who's not even really classified as being a good temp. He's just a temp employee.
Yeah.
That because Joel escaped, they're like, let's shoot this guy up into space. And he's up there, and for him it's very much like, all right, I'm going to try to get out of here.
He does try regularly to get out.
I mean, when he can, he tries to get out. But again, it's Joel is like resigned to just be there. But then when he gets out, it's like, all right, see you guys later.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. I'm not taking you with me, kind of thing. Whereas Mike is very much like, no, I'm trying to get all of us out of here. Like, you guys are my friends.
Yeah.
Like, we're just.
Mike was such a bro.
Yeah.
And I love him for it.
Yeah.
That's why he was my favorite. Honestly, and this is blasphemy, and I'm sure somebody will hate me for it. No, not on the internet. People enjoy differing opinions. My ranking is probably Mike, Jonah, Joel.
Okay.
Because it's more just interaction with the bots. I think Mike and the bots are hilarious, and anytime they have time to just talk to each other, I'm ecstatic. And then Jonah kind of has a very similar thing, and I just don't particularly care for how Joel and the bots are together, and also as far as riffing's concerned, Joel is a much drier performer, and it's not to say that his humor isn't there and that he's not funny, but just it's less something for me and more just other people.
Yeah, no, I definitely think for Joel, he even makes the joke a few times. That's something we're going to talk about a little bit later, where he's like, I really only have one character.
Yeah.
And that character is just me playing myself.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't really have range.
That's really not... even he is like a prop comic.
Yeah, he was a prop comic back in the day.
His kind of just like dry, kind of bland delivery is kind of the fun of a prop comic, of being like, oh, you can do this, and he just like picks up this wackadoo invention thing, and it makes it funnier. You could either go two ways. You go
Carrot Top and Gallagher, or you go Joel.
And for that, Joel did a great job. Like his invention exchange stuff was really fun, but when you're talking about riffing or something like that, it's just, to me, it's just a little less. He has a very soothing voice, and it's so easy to just kind of drone out in the middle of a boring movie, or a movie that's just weird,
Yeah, but also, when it comes to Jonah, I love the fact that at the beginning of the first episode, they kind of depict him as this innovator / rebel /
like a rock star.
Everyone loves him, and could I love him more?
What a guy!
Yeah. They do that whole thing, but they he's the brightest of Gizmonics Institute, and then he gets captured, and it's very much his reaction to it is like, all right, well, let me just be badass at this. Like it's like his personality is, I got to be the best.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You put him in a scenario, he's going to be the best in that scenario.
And then, that's his personality compared to everybody else. And then the robots just hate him for it.
Yeah. It's definitely... So, Mike and the bots were very all on the same page group of friends.
Yeah.
And Jonah and the bots almost come off like Jonah's that friend you hate, but he still hangs around.
Yeah.
And so they kind of riff on him a little bit. And he kind of gets back at them, and it's just kind of funny to me. He's almost a tryhard. He's just right at that edge of, he's not like a suck up or anything, but he's definitely the guy that's like a one-upsman.
Yeah.
So you kind of want to hate him.
Well, it's like you also, again, starts the first episode of him on the ship, and he's like, oh yeah, I changed Gypsy's voice. Also, her coils were just lying everywhere, so I hooked them up to the ceiling, and so she now comes down from the ceiling instead of being on the floor.
Yeah.
I made Gypsy better. I fixed Crow's
legs.
He's like, fixed Tom Servo so that his hover skirt can allow him to hover into the, he doesn't need to be, so he no longer needs to be carried into the theater. I love the fact that there is actually a continuity reason why.
Yeah.
Even though the show is very much like, the theme song is, how does he eat and breathe? You should really just relax. But there actually is continuity reasons on all these little things.
Happening, yeah.
Because apparently there's in the original show, they said that there was this, when you enter into the theater, there's this air vacuum that is so strong that Tom Servo's hover skirt doesn't work over it, so Mike or Joel has to carry him in.
Yeah.
And Jonah fixed that.
Yeah.
It's just like Jonah improved everybody, in some way, shape, or form.
Oh,
and
Jonah's so great.
Again,
everyone loves Jonah.
Yeah, and then he also makes new robots, and all of this it's just like, we hate you.
Yeah, but meanwhile, he still is actually a very charming character.
Yeah, and he is kind of one of the guys. They do joke with him and, are friendly to him, but it is very much like that friend that just kind of tries to one-up everything, and you tolerate him. And he's actually fun to hang around, but then there are just those times that you're just like, fuck.
You know what it is? It's the friend you have in high school, but once you graduate, you're never going to see him again.
Yeah.
That's what Jonah
and that's kind of how they treat him, is that you're the third guy.
Yeah.
You're not the guy who created us, and you're not Mike.
Yeah.
You're the third guy. There's going to be a fourth. Let's just get past this.
Yeah.
You're not going to be here forever, but we bots will, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's very much how they play it in the show, and I love it.
Yeah.
I love that mentality or that dynamic.
Yeah.
But for season 11, did you have a favorite episode or?
I'm trying to think. I looked up the episodes to see if Avalanche was the actual name of it, and
I think it is.
It is,
Yeah.
I don't remember. I do know that Reptilicus had, I believe it was Reptilicus that had my favorite joke in it, where it's just this weird shot in the movie where they keep zooming to different things. So it's like a door that's open, a clock on the wall, and then a person sleeping on like their head on a desk or something.
Well, it's like he's working and he's kind of nodding off while he's working, and
so
it keeps cutting between the three
zooming
things.
between all of them, and it's just I don't know why it's a joke that hit me so hard, but up until that point I was like, oh, it's all right, it's not great, and then we got to that and I just full on laughter and was like, okay, I'm gonna give him a shot, like, let's go.
I like the Reptilicus rap.
Yeah, that rap is actually really good. I did not like it when I first saw it, and then like every time afterwards, of which there have been many times afterwards that I've seen.
Sorry.
It's like grown on me.
Yeah, I think my favorite episodes are probably Cry Wilderness and the Avalanche.
Yeah.
Like those two, like Cry Wilderness. Immediately, it's such a bad movie.
Yeah.
That somehow the riffing makes it a good movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's some later episodes that are kind of hard to watch.
I think I had issues with the Wizards of the Lost Kingdom.
1 or 2.
I think I had problems with them being back to back.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it would have done better if one of those was, like, earlier in the season and the other one was later in the season to just give you some time between.
Yeah.
Because I remember we marathoned through a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it was a hard watch to go from one to the other. And I don't think I didn't ever revisit those because of that. Because it was just...
Yeah.
not as fun to watch back to back.
Yeah. No, that actually kind of bothered me because I mean they did stuff like that previously, but they never, like, they had Master Ninja 1 and Master Ninja 2, or they had movies that had sequels, but they didn't air them back to back like that. They were literally spread out either across seasons, like you get Master Ninja 1 in season 1 and another season you'd get the sequel. Yeah. Or sometimes they were both in the same season, but they were just spread out over time.
Yeah, I just kind of wish that, I mean, they didn't know they were going to have a second season, or like I guess a 12th season. So, if they could, I would love for them to do the first movie on season 11 and then the second movie on season 12. Yeah. But at least a movie or two in between to just give us some, like, time to breathe.
Yeah, and I thought the riffing on Star Crash would have been a little bit better.
Yeah, I don't...
But the bits on Star Crash were actually really good, specifically the last bit, because it's literally them reenacting the craziness of the final battle scene in the movie, and it literally looks like they're just going insane.
Yeah.
Because like even like the Mads, Kinga and Max are just like, what's going on? I don't understand. I think we broke them.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that's one of the examples where like the riffing isn't good, but the in betweens and the opening and ending are the better parts of it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the Hercules one and if I liked it or not.
the Many Loves of Hercules.
Yeah, like I remember it vaguely.
I loved it, if only for the fact that they kept making Eddie Vedder jokes.
Oh yeah.
Throughout it, because the guy who played Hercules kind of sort of looked like Eddie Vedder.
Yeah.
So it was just a lot of Pearl Jam jokes.
Yeah. There's a lot of music references with Jonah. Jonah is definitely the music guy.
Well,
considering that Mike was also a singer too.
Yeah, well, I mean, with Jonah, it's I feel like, well, I mean, if you've ever listened to his podcast or anything like that, he is like an indie music aficionado. Like he loves music. So it's kind of like his two loves are movies and music, and he's been blessed enough to have kind of an acting career. But then,
who could forget him in such films as...
I think he was in, what was that movie, Aleister Crowley? I think he was like in the opening scene of it.
Oh. So he was murdered.
Yeah, I think he was murdered.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. But
now I'm just being an asshole.
And then also he has his TV show, which was on CISO, which was...
oh, that's right. It was like a parody of... It was a traveling show, right?
Yeah, it was like a travel show where he would go to a city and show you that city, and it always ended up going wrong kind of thing.
Yeah.
I forget what it was called. Or it was like Real America, something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to go through his stuff, but he was apparently in Drunk History.
Yeah, he's been in a few episodes of that.
Hidden America with Jonah Ray.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, Victor Crowley, Talking Dead. Well, I mean, a lot of people are on Talking Dead.
Well, he was on The Nerdist, so he's going to be on anything that The Nerdist and Chris Hardwick would have appeared on.
Yeah, yeah.
But, because, I mean, that's how he got the part of Jonah, is that Joel was a guest on the Nerdist podcast.
Yeah.
Which, Jonah Ray was on that podcast and was like, oh man, I'm such a huge fan. And they ended up talking and they really hit it off. And then Joel needed help writing a speech. So he contacted Jonah, really liking his sense of humor, and said, hey, would you mind helping me write this speech? And he was like, oh yeah, sure. And it was like an actual paid writing gig kind of thing. That Joel paid him for, and then when he decided to do the Kickstarter for MST3K, he was like, the first person I thought of was Jonah Ray. Like, that was the guy. Like, when I wrote that speech, when he helped me write that speech, he was the guy I knew wanted to be the new head of.
Yeah. I need to connect with the new generation of nerds, and this geek seems like the right one to go with.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he is very much the embodiment of a fan.
Yeah. And then
not in character, like Jonah Heston is not that, but Jonah Ray as a human is in fact very much the embodiment of like a Misty.
Yeah, no, definitely he is. But yeah, so I mean, they had the first season. They announced that the 12th season is going to be premiering this Thanksgiving on Turkey Day, appropriately, which a lot of people went, well, wait, if it's going to be 6 episodes, the format's being changed a little bit, so because it's on Netflix, I think Netflix asked them to do less episodes instead of doing a 14 season they wanted to do, because Netflix seems to be keen on the idea that people are saying that the seasons of their shows have been too long. Yeah. And so the problem
is Netflix has an audience of binge watchers, and if you're making 24 episode series, binging is a lot harder. So they are trying to make this as bingeable as possible. Yeah. And because MST3K does entire movies, so instead of like, a 30-minute show where you can watch it all in 3 hours or whatever, it's something that takes longer period of time. They really wanted to shorten up the season.
Yeah, and also, I mean, that also, because a lot of the ways people have been looking at it is, instead of it actually being, with other shows anyways, instead of it actually, like, they're greenlighting 2 seasons at a time, with a lot of these, like, you used to be making, 24 or 13 season episodes. Well, now you're greenlit for 2 seasons. One season's like 6 episodes, and then the second season is like 9 episodes. Yeah. Like, that's what they're kind of doing now. So a lot of people are seeing it as the similar thing to the winter break for TV shows on actual network television.
I don't like to look at it that way unless it's 100% confirmed that we're going to get another season.
Well, that's what a lot of the...
That's dangerous thinking, to be like, well, that's what Netflix does. Then you're going to get that other short second season.
Well,
and it's like,
and in a lot of cases,
say that.
Netflix has kind of been where they hold off announcing the second season until they see what the initial buzz is for the first season.
Which is smart financially. You don't want to be like, green light, and then turns out you're, keep a stinker going for too long.
So, I mean,
cough, Iron Fist.
Yeah. Though I heard the second season was better.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I mean, a D is better than an F, but it's still a failing grade. Yeah. Not that I've seen either one of them, but I'm just saying, just because you greenlit something that's not a garbage fire doesn't necessarily mean it's good now.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. But so it's going to be 6 episodes,
Yes.
6 movies. In a way, it's being the description of the new season is it's going to be a gauntlet of. And the subtitle of the show is called The Gauntlet. And it's funny because it's subtitled The Gauntlet, but the official movie art or the show artwork for the season is Jonah running, and there's 6 vats of liquid because the King of Chrome liquid thing that they're doing, the liquid television, where the movies are stored on liquid,
right?
Which is a thing that people have actually looked into or whatever. You can actually store movies on like liquid or whatever.
I'm certain Joel was just very much into the science of that, and that's why.
No, it was.
No,
it was purely,
that was 100% not sarcasm.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But I said it in a way that if I was wrong, it could be construed as sarcasm.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was, the idea is that she made it, and it's also kind of made it absurd, like it's a lot of liquid and that it can spill out, which is why there are scenes missing from the movies.
Yeah, and you get those moments of like bubbles popping up on screen.
But it's Jonah and the bots running away, and then in the background you see these vats, and they're colored like the Infinity Stones.
That's funny.
I know it was intentional probably from the artist, but I don't know if it was intentional for what they were requesting.
Yeah.
But I thought it was kind of funny.
The more I think about it, the more I feel like these tubes of liquid movie really lend themselves to a Prince of Darkness.
Yeah.
Riff, but I don't think anybody would. Only me and like a few other.
You and Jonah Ray
would appreciate that. Yeah.
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 But yeah, so it's going to be interesting because I'm curious because they're introducing a new character in the new season. It's 6 episodes long. Right. Also apparently they have a deal with Totino's.
Yes.
And so like everything is sponsored by Totino's pizza rolls.
Yeah.
Which
if I have to buy several boxes of Totino pizza rolls in order to get a 13th season of
I'll do it.
Oh yeah, that's hardly a sacrifice.
Yeah, but so that's coming out on Thanksgiving.
It's going to be a Totino's Thanksgiving, John.
Yeah. So that's coming out on Thanksgiving. A lot of people are probably wondering what's going on with because usually they do their Thanksgiving Turkey Day marathon streaming on Twitch or whatever.
Yeah, Shout Factory one.
With Shout Factory. So as to not collide with that, the weekend before Thanksgiving, the Saturday before Thanksgiving, they're actually doing the stream. The Turkey Week marathon, and then they're going to keep that stream online for anyone who wants to watch it up to the day after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So people will be able to, like, if they want to watch it on Thanksgiving, they can. If they want to watch it before Thanksgiving, they can do that too.
I mean, and I'm not saying we're going to do this, but we could wake up at midnight when Netflix posts the new MST3K, and then watch all 6 of those episodes, and then during the day watch the traditional Shout Factory thing.
That's totally what we were going to do.
And then when we finish that, we go to Shudder and we watch Joe Bob Briggs's marathon, which is happening at the same time. Yeah. Because that's as close to watching it live as I've gotten so far.
Yeah.
So, we got a lot planned for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's being planned.
Because the day after Thanksgiving will look like a survived something horrible.
But I will say one of the great things since they are, there's been kind of I want to say it's been over a year since because there was a whole there's been 2 whole Turkey Day since the last season came out. Okay. So there's been like a big gap, but to kind of bridge that gap and to get people prepared for season 13, the MST3K has been
season 12.
Season 12. Did I say 13? Mm-hmm. Didn't mean that.
They're on Moon 13.
Yeah, they're on Moon 13.
Season 12.
Yeah, season 12. Yes. Thank you for that catch. But to prepare people, they kind of, and also advertise, even though I feel like Netflix doesn't advertise MST3K, which is a little disappointing.
Yeah.
Like it's like the onus of advertisement is being done specifically by the fans and the people who made the show.
Yeah.
Which
That's kind of always been the thing for MST3K.
Yeah, no, it has.
I think they had like one big surge on Comedy Central, and that's kind of been it.
Yeah.
As far as other people trying to advertise for them.
Yeah, but the big two things that they've been doing is one is the comic books, because they've released 2 issues of a comic book, which is a 6-issue miniseries. It's from Dark Horse, which what I love about this is that apparently the head of Dark Horse, one of the head people of Dark Horse,
right,
has been trying to get an MST3K comic book, licensed comic book, since Dark Horse has been around, and since the show was like on Comedy Central. Like, he has been hounding them to try to get them to let him, to
I like the idea that every time they're like, we need new ideas, and then he raises his hand, they're like, stop pitching that.
And how do you get in here? Yeah. Yeah, but so this time he as soon as the Kickstarter went live and was successful, he immediately contacted Joel, and they worked out a deal to do MST3K the comic, which 2 issues have come out so far. We have read both issues.
Yes.
This is different format than, because I mean,
well, you can't riff a movie in a comic book. That doesn't make a lick of sense.
Yeah, and apparently they actually did. I mean, the idea is that they've taken public domain comics from like old public domain comics.
Yeah.
And they're riffing on them.
Stuff. Yeah.
And they're riffing on them. And originally, I think they experimented with doing like the theater shadow boxes.
Yeah, and having
them just kind of.
That's just,
and it didn't work because the way some panel layouts are, it would actually cover up the panel.
Yeah.
So it was basically kind of one of those things where like, well, let's not do that. And then someone apparently had the idea to make the characters part of the comic, so they hired like artists to
replicate the original artwork or art style for the comics
and overlay it over the original, so that you're still getting the original comic, but you're getting some pages may be completely original, some may not, or some panels may be completely original and some may not, but you're getting like, there's a character and we're putting Tom Servo's head over that character's body, on top of that character's body.
Yeah, Tom Servo is the teenage journalist.
Yeah, teen boy reporter.
Yeah, teen reporter Tom Servo.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so essentially, in the story of this, Kinga has developed...
Cynthia has developed the technology to use the liquid, like, bubble vision, only instead of that being films, it's a way to put these characters in comic books so they can riff the comic book
from inside the comic.
From within, and then it's clearly a very experimental thing.
Yeah.
Because some characters are interactive and some characters are just kind of riffing from the outside, changing dialogue bubbles and things like that.
Yeah.
But not being seen in it. Where other characters seem to be present in the comic and referencing things happening in the comic but aren't being interacted with. And then you have like Tom Servo, who replaces the main character and is the main character in the first issue.
For the teenage reporter.
Yeah, Tom Servo, who finally gets to experience life as a teen in the 1960s, which seemed to be a dream of his.
Yeah, well, it's one of many. And then that was the first issue that dealt with that, which, strangely enough, Crow and Jonah were not anywhere to be seen in that issue. That issue was 100% Tom Servo, which I kind of liked it. I liked the Tom Servo, especially, I think you brought it up, the opening thing with him, like everyone else, like freaking out.
So they didn't ask permission, and it's not like we have movie sign and you see a hallway that you're going down with a bunch of doors. They're like, and you're going into the comic book, and then from the ceiling, just bubbles start coming in and engulfing everybody, and everyone's running, and it's mass panic. Like every bot, Jonah, they're all shouting, "Serpentine motion, go, get out of here, go, run!" And Tom Servo is prepping to be put in the comic book because he is hyped about being in the comic book.
Yeah,
and
he's like, the day is mine.
Yeah, it's so funny to watch it and really read it with the thought of these characters shouting for their lives because these bubbles that they've never experienced are attacking them, and Tom Servo's like just like falls into it like a beautiful butterfly landing on a flower. Like
he's just he does
so
a trust fall
into
it.
It's so funny. Oddly enough, not my favorite comic, but that scene and Tom Servo in general is like the best part of that, which is, I guess, is great that he is the main character of that comic because, the riffs are not great.
There's a lot of misses in that first issue.
I also had problems with their indicating of things being riffs.
Yeah.
Where so sometimes a character talking is just what was the dialogue way back when.
Yeah, and then it'll have like
and then it'll have a mini bubble next to it if it's an added dialogue bubble.
Yeah.
And I wish that they would change the color of something or just so it, and I'm never reading it and going, oh wow, that's a weird thing for them to write. But it just feels out of place to have their dialogue bubble and then their dialogue bubble.
Yeah.
Without I mean, Deadpool is a great example of how you can do multiple dialogue bubbles and still get what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I really wish they would have taken that kind of format and added that to it because it's just a little bit gets lost.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. I feel like the first issue is a lot of... I mean, the first half of the first issue is explaining it.
Yeah.
So that you understand what's going on.
I do not like the King of Forrester stuff.
Yeah.
Like, every time she comes in and is like, I want this, and this is how I'm feeling, or whatever, I'm just like, boring. I would rather be into the comic.
Yeah.
I don't really. Once she explained everything, I thought I wouldn't even see her in the rest of it, and then she keeps
shows
coming up.
Yeah,
I don't mind her. She shows up to talk about Totino's pizza rolls.
Yeah, it's like a party starts up at the place that the teen boy reporter is at, and she then walks in and replaces Servo's dome with a bowl of Totino's pizza rolls.
Yes. I mean, what better to serve you with?
Yeah.
So it's just, and I'm fine with that. But once you're back on Moon 13, I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, and then second issue is actually two different comics. The first one is featuring Jonah, in which it's
the Black Cat.
The Black Cat. It's an old comic, and Jonah's her plucky sidekick.
Oh my God, I actually genuinely love him in it. Because he's so dorky looking. And
he also finds out that he's actually like a radio DJ, and he's like, I've always wanted to be a radio DJ.
Yeah, he's very hyped about it. It's just kind of cute to me. And then the second, what is the second?
The second one, I don't remember what it's called, but it's very much one of those like
Tale of Death.
Yeah, Tale of Death. It's very much one of those like Tales from the Crypt stories from the early Tales from the Crypt stories. And Crow is kind of it's different in this one because in most of the other ones they're replacing existing characters, but in this story
he's just kind of standing in the background talking.
They're talking.
Yeah, nobody interacts with him.
No one interacts with him or anything, and then
it almost plays off like a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
The horror.
And then it kind of hints that the three different comics are somehow gonna like intertwine as the issues go on.
Yeah, so the bubble machine, I guess, malfunctioned.
Has a leak.
Yeah, it had a leak of the horror one was a like residual bubbles from a past test that they didn't do. And then all the bubbles are just interacting with each other now because bubbles do as bubbles do. I thought it was really funny that they were just like, send in these bubbles to take to put Jonah in a different comic book, and it was like, but they're bubbles. You didn't even clear out the other bubbles, and they never seemed to think that was an issue, and then it ended up being an issue. Like,
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
So yeah, I'm kind of interested to see where it goes with this, because I mean, like I said, I do agree there are some missteps in it. There's some stuff that definitely could have been implemented a little bit better, but it's an interesting experiment with putting MST3K in a comic.
The pitch is good. Like, the idea behind it is good.
Yeah.
The execution has been messy at best, and I'm hoping that they start really feeling what they're doing and get a little better.
Yeah.
I mean, the difference between the first issue and the second issue, I feel like is a decent improvement. So
Yeah.
if it continues on that path, by the end, once we hit 6, it should be fairly readable comic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to be like, it's going to be great, but like, I think it'll be a pretty good comic book.
Yeah, and then, but yeah. So, like I said, there's only 2 issues out so far, and that's I'm excited just because I love comics and I love MST3K, and it's 2 great tastes that you don't know if they're going to taste great.
Okay together.
Yeah, they taste okay, but I'm enjoying it because I'm a MST3K diehard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could totally see where people could have complaints, because like there's some things that even I'm kind of like I kind of felt like the Tom Servo one kind of dragged a little bit. At times, and I'm just like, this is kind of boring.
Yeah.
Even with the quips, it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
But I felt like the second issue
like
just kind of
the
was
quips
just going.
were the problem, but that's true for like MST3K episodes. Is that sometimes you're just gonna end up with some, like, you try to be funny, you try to have good riffs, and it just doesn't change the pace of the story.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But the big thing that they did to bridge the gap between season 11 and season 12 is that they went on a second live tour. Right after the first season came out, they did a
Watch Out for Snakes
tour, which was they went to nowhere near us across the U.S.
Story of our lives.
They did this whole tour where it was everybody from the show, with the exception of Felicia Day, Patton Oswalt, and Baron Vaughn, who is the voice of Tom Servo. Those 3 were not there, though they did a pre-recorded thing with Felicia Day and Patton Oswalt that would open up the thing. And it was the same. It was like the same 2 movies in every city. One movie was announced, which was they riffed on EGA, and then the second movie was a secret one, which later turned out to be Super Inframan.
Okay.
Was it Super Inframan? I can't remember now. I think it was Super Inframan, which, for anyone wondering what the significance of that is, Kinga's character and all of her skeleton henchmen are based off of the villains of Super Inframan, though the character of Kinga, doesn't look or act anything like that villain anymore. Like they changed her character so much that it doesn't even resemble that. But the skeleton crew henchmen totally look
like that,
exactly like the henchmen from that movie. So I think they riffed on that movie as like a special secret thing. I don't know, but I heard it was a lot of fun. I heard a lot of people and they took a lot of live feedback from that, apparently, like from people on that tour, and tried to fix a lot of the problems that people had with season 11. Like they kind of got into their groove of riffing movies, like slowing down the quips, getting the right pacing for it.
Yeah, because the big issue they had with the season 11 was that it felt like it was just like joke, and there wasn't like a breathing room. There wasn't time to let the movie develop at the same time. Like they were very much just, they didn't want any dead air, and it caused a lot of issues for some people. Yeah.
And it was, since they didn't have Baron Vaughn, they got someone else to voice Tom Servo in that, which ended up being I can't think of his name off the top of my head all of a sudden, but he was one of the skeleton crew member on the show. He was like the tall skeleton crew member that was on the show, who strangely enough is also the husband of
Cynthia,
the actress that plays Cynthia, the clone of Pearl Forrester. So he got to do Tom Servo, and what's funny is a lot of people were like, no, there are some people that I actually heard that were like, he's better than Baron Vaughn. Like, they should not any offense to Baron Vaughn, but should he leave the show, this guy Tim something, I can't think of his actual last name, but it's like
I'm trying
Tim.
to find it.
But there are some people that are like, no, he's a better Tom Servo than, and I don't know if I agree with that or disagree with it. I think he's a good Tom Servo, and I think if Baron Vaughn...
Tim Ryder.
I think if Baron Vaughn ends up leaving the show for some reason, he's a good person to take over the reins of that character.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying he should replace him, because for the first tour, the reason Baron Vaughn wasn't there is because his wife
had a baby,
mm-hmm. and they Joel was very much like, no, you stay and be with your child. Be there for the birth of your child. We will make do without you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. We are not going to interrupt that kind of thing, which I totally respect that.
Yeah, of course.
Apparently, they did a second tour. Now, this is the 30th anniversary tour of MST3K Live. Still no Patton Oswalt, still no Felicia Day. This time, no Hampton Yount, who is the voice of Crow, and also no Baron Vaughn, which apparently they didn't have the budget to keep them on, to bring them on the tour.
Which is interesting.
So it was one of those things where, they were not on the tour, and this time replacing Hampton Yount on Crow was Grant. I always do that. Grant, and I always...
Bakayoko?
Yeah, Bakayoko. Who...
Bakayoko?
Yeah.
Bakayoko?
I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Bakayoko.
He's a really cool guy, actually. Mm-hmm. He is well known within the puppet industry, and he's actually the head puppeteer for the new MST3K. Mm-hmm. He's also the voice of the character M. Waverly.
Mm-hmm. My favorite.
Yeah, which
I like endearing sweetheart characters.
Yeah, but he actually works with Jim Henson Studios. He does work for the Muppets. He's
Puppet
done.
Up.
Yeah, he also does Puppet Up for Jim Henson Studios. He has also worked on the Muppets for a few things, and
yeah, he was in the Happy Time Murders.
Yeah, did the Happy Time Murders movie. He took over the role of Crow for this tour. Mm-hmm.
And I love him.
Yeah, he was great. I think both Tim and Grant were great. And Grant is also one of those people that he's very approachable. And if people message him online, he kind of responds back.
So does Jonah.
Yeah.
That's weird. I've seen so many people online oh my god, I hashtag MST3K Live, and Jonah said, hey, what's up? And it's like, yeah, man, apparently he just sits on his phone and says hey to everybody.
Yeah, he told me he liked my Evil Dead shirt in one of our pictures that I posted on my personal Instagram. And I was like, yay, Senpai noticed me. But no, so they had a much bigger tour this time around. And Joel actually even had hinted at that this may be a thing that they do regularly in between seasons.
Yeah.
Because the idea is that if they do get picked up for another season after this one, it's gonna be a little bit. There's gonna be a kind of a gap between. So to kind of bridge that gap, they do these tours in which they can go. Interact with the fans directly and riff more movies. I was a little disappointed that the first tour they didn't record one of those shows and release it as a DVD or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping they do it with the second tour.
Yeah.
But they may not. I don't know. It could just be a thing where if you're at the live tour, that's the only way you're going to get to see those movies.
Oh, but I have a terrible memory. I'm not going to remember all the laughs I had last.
Yeah.
This was only a few days ago, and I'm already like, my brain, I'm losing them. I'm losing the memories.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm the same way, and I really hope they release, even if it's not the show up that we went to, I would love to see those movies. Yeah. I'd love to see those riffs.
I have to believe that they're changing up, not regularly, every show is a different riff or whatever, but I have to feel like they leave themselves open, a little wiggle room for fun. There were points when Jonah was laughing at jokes like he'd not heard them before.
There was the one joke that like at the very beginning, like when so they're in the very first movie that we went and saw, which was a movie called The Brain, when they're introducing the cast or when they're introducing the characters, Jonah comes out to the big applause, and the bots come out to big applause, and then Joel comes out, because the big thing for the 30th anniversary tour is that Joel is also riffing with them.
Yeah,
the character of Joel has come back to riff.
Yeah,
and he comes out, and Joel the room explodes.
Yeah.
And then Cynthia, who is emceeing the whole live show,
right,
is basically like, okay, I've got something special. I'm going to have you two compete against each other. And then Jonah makes a line that's like, oh, this is so unfair. Who do you think they're going to vote for? Papa Bear or not Mike? And Joel busted out laughing like that was totally spontaneous.
Yeah, it was great.
Like he had not heard that before, or not expected that, and it was good.
Yeah.
And yeah, there were lots of riffs where someone, you're right. They do leave some wiggle room for each show, because there's even points where like there's an opening thing where they have to realign a satellite dish, and they show the city skyline of the city they're in. Yeah. And it's done live there with this. It's
really, like a toy school bus with a saucer glued onto it. It's all spray painted one color, and you can see somebody's hand holding it up. Yeah. And them just kind of going and like, oh, I landed it kind of thing, and it's like a play on the idea of it being miniatures, except like you could see somebody's hand just like, I did the thing. Yeah. Which I felt like I laughed loud, like not louder, but I laughed more than like everyone around us.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That sort of thing is my it's my sense of humor of them being like, it's a technology, and it's just like,
look at those special effects, only the best for you guys.
Yeah, I love it.
And then when they would poke fun at the fact that like some characters were not there, and they would reference the actors and not the characters, and then the characters would all be like, I don't know who that is. Who are you referring to? Yeah. Or when one character plays multiple characters on the show, and they have to fudge the fact, like the character's looking, when like the actress who plays Cynthia, she's also the voice of Gypsy in the new season. So like when she's having a conversation with Gypsy at one point, she's like looking at the crowd when she's speaking as Cynthia, and then turns her back to the screen, like she's looking at the screen to see what Gypsy's response is, and then like, oh, that's your response, and then turning around.
Yeah, and if you watch Jonah the entire time, he's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it was
because he doesn't actually say anything. He just does the reaction, and
like, like wait, what's going on here? It was a lot of fun. The first movie, The Brain, was done kind of like a very experimental, kind of like a game show where it was they were riffing between. Like it was like a competition, a riff competition. Like
they segmented the time you're watching the movie with these specific topics of riffing. So you would get a point for like referencing stuff from the 80s, I think was one of them, and then points for callbacks to those jokes. It seemed like what they did was write out their riffs and then see what was most common and then turn those into categories, which is fine. But it was a bit... I like them to have a little more freedom in their joking, and to like be very... It needs to happen within this construct. Yeah. Made it a little uncomfortable, or just like it got stale a little quick, but they didn't do it the entire movie. Yeah. By the end, they kind of let it go.
Yeah, and then they kind of did a thing where they chose two people from the crowd, one person representing Jonah, one person representing Joel, and they were supposed to be like the cheerleaders to get the crowd rallied behind each team, Team Yellow and Team Red, and then the winner of whoever won the game show competition, that person who got the chosen, who was the chosen cheerleader, got to say a couple of riff lines, like actually got to join the cast on stage and
did silhouetted.
Yeah, silhouetted, and actually got to riff a couple lines in the movie, and then.
Yeah, thank God that was only 2 lines. Yeah, and because and this is no offense to the person that won, but it was awkward and you couldn't hear what they were saying.
She was very nervous.
Tell that like Joel was whispering what to say. She was supposed to say more things, but she wouldn't say it when they were telling her to say it.
Yeah.
And because you could tell, because there would be like a weird awkward, and they'd all kind of look, and you just hear Joel like, and then you say this, and then she just wouldn't.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, well, it passed, and like just move on. And it's just like, I want to watch professional comedians make fun of a movie. I don't want to watch a kid who doesn't know how to do it reading lines, because that's not going to ever be funny. And I get that it's this dream thing for a fan, but this is a live show that I wanted to watch. You know what I mean?
But it was cute for what it was.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was only like 2 lines, and then they were like, bye.
Yeah, it was only a little bit. And then the second movie that they did with a movie called Deathstalker 2, which is funny because when they originally announced the tour, they had actually announced it as being Deathstalker 1, but then had to change it because then they watched the movie, and apparently Deathstalker 1 has a lot of nudity and a lot of rape scenes.
Yeah.
So, or maybe not rape scenes, but very
questionable sexual content scenes.
In which later films from the Deathstalker franchise did not focus on as much. And if I'm not mistaken, Deathstalker 3 was riffed in a past episode of MST3K. So them doing a Deathstalker movie, which apparently there's like 7 of them.
That's amazing.
Is not, it was not a uncommon thing. But they did Deathstalker 2, which while I enjoyed both movies, Deathstalker 2 was done more like a traditional episode, where there was no game show. It was just...
There was a lot of musical interludes, though.
Yeah, they did.
That was like the musical episode.
Yeah, there were a lot of musical numbers during it, which I loved all of that. I thought it was all hilarious.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was just like, everyone kept saying this was more like a traditional episode, but I was like, but literally like 75% of the jokes were them just singing.
Yeah.
That's kind of not super. I know they have like musical stuff that happens every once in a while, but that's not that much of it being musical was,
and
to me, a little
Joel
different.
Turning every song into the final countdown.
That's actually like my favorite. I love a good running joke.
Yeah. But no, it was a lot of fun. For the special thing they did for the second movie is they did a live Q&A where the fans got to ask Crow and Tom Servo questions, and the big caveat was it can't be like what's your favorite episode or what's your favorite movie or what's the worst movie. It has to be other types of questions where you really get to know.
Yeah, I think Cynthia suggested like how to get over a breakup or like what's the meaning of life, and she's like, really, like they're experts at this life stuff.
Yeah, and I think like one person asked like, what do you think of the Asimov's 3 laws of robotics?
Yeah, and Tom Servo named 2 of 3, I believe.
Yeah, Crow was like, I don't know what those are.
Yeah.
And then Tom Servo was like, I know all of them, and then said 2 of them, and then just said the third one was about tacos.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, we don't really care for those laws because they're not.
Yeah.
We weren't programmed with them.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
There was a girl that cosplayed as Tom Servo and asked what he was doing later that night and if he feels weird about kissing himself. And he said...
He was like, oh my God, I'm gorgeous.
Yeah, and then he said...
As for what I'm doing later tonight, I'm questioning...
Yeah, I'm dealing with a lot of new confusing emotions.
Yeah.
I think it was. And then somebody asked how you convince your friends to vote.
Oh my God, that was the best.
It was a shockingly great answer. First of all, Crow said to give all your friends $10. And then Tom was upset because that's voter fraud.
Yeah.
And then Crow said, well, then give him $20.
Yeah, it was a good... And then Tom Servo kind of went into this, like, speech.
Yeah, this very patriotic, like, because it's your civil duty, and for the good of the nation and for the people and like all this. He just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, and the entire time Crow's off to the side going and then once Tom Sawyer starts, he actually starts singing the song. And then the crowd joined in with him singing, and then suddenly
from the sides, Joel and Jonah come in.
Yeah.
All while Crow's giving this great speech. I haven't seen it online anywhere, but I'm hoping that it gets posted somewhere.
Yeah, because I mean that was so great. I was kind of like, why am I not recording this? This is amazing.
Yeah.
And then I'm really hoping some fan out there recorded that, because oh my god, that was just the best.
Yeah.
And then during the live show, they also introduced the new character, Dr. Phibes, who is she runs a habitat for science fiction B-movie monsters, because what happens to those creatures after the movie? They get discarded. Well, she saves them and has a habitat for all of them on
her spaceship, the Ark. I can't remember what it's called. It's Ark something.
Ark something, sponsored by Totino's Pizza Rolls.
That's right. I forgot about. Why is everything sponsored by Totino's Pizza Rolls?
It's the only sponsorship they could get.
Apparently.
And they love them for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's a new character. Like during the brain, she actually like brought out the brain, which was like this really cool looking puppet thing.
It was a really cool gag of the fake arms holding the puppet, and then her arms are inside the puppet.
Yeah.
Making it work, and it sprayed water on everyone, and its eyes moved, and it was just really nicely made. I mean, it looked like the brain in the movie. Sometimes that doesn't like their props don't look as good, but this was a really well made puppet.
Yeah, and then for the second movie, they brought out a one of the
pig guards from
Deathstalker 2, and
Jonah was him.
Yeah, it was just Jonah in a costume, because he came out and then forgot that he was supposed to be in a costume,
and Joel made him go back and then try to buy time for him to change costumes
by not answering Cynthia's questions.
Yeah, and then they had like a little back and forth because of it, which was kind of nice. Live shows, when things go wrong that aren't like terribly wrong, or like just they completely fuck the whole thing up or whatever.
Yeah.
But when things go wrong like that, that's always the most fun. That's when you find out how funny they are.
Yeah. And the actress that plays Cynthia is hilarious. Like, she is good on her feet. Like, for that, like, those moments where something happens that's not supposed to, and just staying, like, on top of it.
Yeah.
She is...
It makes me wish that they give her more to do this next season.
Yeah.
Because she's kind of... I mean, she purposely has played it as, like, a very stiff character. Yeah. But she's so funny.
Yeah. No, I actually...
Rebecca Hansen.
Yeah. What I actually really love is there's apparently, from the first tour... there's a joke that I'm hoping actually becomes an actual thing in the show, which is that whenever Cynthia is around Kinga, she's very kind of robotic and very awkward. But the second Kinga's gone, she's like totally like laid back, funny, and kind of sarcastic, and just like like personality oozing.
Yeah.
And that for whatever reason, it's just when
Kinga makes her uncomfortable, so
Kinga
she
just
stiffs up.
She doesn't know how to act around her.
Yeah.
Which I think is hilarious, and I hope that, because they apparently in the last tour they did something like that, where when Kinga was on the TV, like she was like very like robotic in her responses, and as soon as the transmission ended, she's like, oh, now that's over, suddenly all the personality came out. But yeah, she's great, and her and Joel's interactions with each other very
they're
kind of getting at each other, and
oddly mean-spirited, but clearly, like, not upsetting each other. Yeah. It was just funny.
Yeah. It was really fun. Like, I actually really enjoyed the live show. I really enjoyed going to both shows. We got really... I mean, the place they showed it at here in town, which was the Paramount, there's not a bad seat in that theater, I don't think. I don't know. I've never been on the balcony, so I don't know. But
well, the pictures I've seen from the balcony, they didn't look bad.
Yeah. So I mean, it's one of those things where I don't think there's any bad seat in that theater, but we got some great seats, which I was very happy about. Got to pick up some cool merch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some t-shirts, some t-shirt for me, t-shirt for you, and then
I got pins.
Yeah, you got some enamel pins because you're kind of on an enamel pin kick at the moment.
I can't help it.
Yeah, and then I got some some faux movie posters, which so during one of the episodes of season 11, I want to say it was the Beast of Yucca Flats, or it was like a Western with a T-Rex in it. I can't remember the exact title. It may not be that. It may be that. But they start announcing like weird mashup like movies titles.
Like Woolly Klamath?
Yeah, Woolly Klamath.
Tarantulama.
Tarantulama. What is it? Is it Gatorlanch?
I can't think of what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just all these parody like.
Yeah, kind of like Sharknado and kind of like
only
parodying
like
those titles.
Something I'd want to watch.
Yeah, but yeah, so they released a bunch of like for this tour they made a bunch of like prints and then a giant poster for one of them of those, and I bought all those because I really want all those.
Yeah, so hopefully I'm really hoping to do our main hallway of just bad fake movie
posters. Bad fake movie posters. So that was actually pretty cool. I'm pretty excited. I know that the tour is going to be ending up to the week before Thanksgiving. I think the last show is the week before Thanksgiving. So if you didn't get to see it, I'm sorry.
But you will get to see
the next season. But if they do more of these tours, I would highly recommend going. They are hilarious. They are fun. The cast and crew is great, throughout the whole thing. And I did hear that, some of the cast did, after the last showing, did like come out and talk to some of the fans.
Yeah, I know Rebecca Hansen came out fully decked out as Cynthia still and took pictures and hung out with people.
Yeah. We didn't see them because we kind of
bailed. We were like, bye.
We were like, bye. But yeah, but I'm like really excited for the new season of MST3K, and if there was anything I could dedicate an entire episode of this podcast on,
Dagnabbit, it's gonna be MST3K.
Dagnabbit, you're right. The only other thing I could think of off the top of my head that we could do this
Power Rangers
and Muppets.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or John Carpenter.
Yeah.
Or any weird thing that I get obsessed with for a long period. Wrestling.
Yeah. That might come up soon too.
What? Foreshadowing.
Not next week's episode though. But I guess we're gonna wrap things up there. As always, you can reach us at our email address, geekbombast@gmail.com. We're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're on Stitcher. You can find the podcast literally everywhere, that there is podcasts. Mm-hmm. I am trying to get it in more places than ever before. That's one thing I felt like I kind of faltered on with the previous 300 plus episodes of Geek Bombast that we had done.
That, in fairness, it was harder to get your podcast on a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But this time around, I'm getting it up everywhere. So if you don't have iTunes, you have access to Stitcher. If you don't have access to Stitcher, there's Spotify, because everyone's got access to Spotify. I'm trying to get it up in a few other places.
There's YouTube, so if you just want to put it on YouTube, that's fine too.
You can even put it on your YouTube app on your TV or whatever and listen to us babble on for whatever.
Babylon's a different podcast.
I know, but I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying we babble about stuff. But yeah, so we're all in those places. We don't have a website yet. Mm-hmm. Probably sometime within the new year, we're going to get a website. But temporarily, you can go to geekbombast.libsyn.com. Libsyn is spelled Libsyn. But geekbombast.libsyn.com, that's kind of a temporary web page for now, because they've kind of set that up as like a bit of a blog format on there.
Okay.
But all the episodes are listed on there. Plus, that's where the RSS feed is. It's Libsyn. It's geekbombast.libsyn.com/RSS. So if you have like a preferred podcast thing that just needs an RSS feed, that's the RSS feed.
Yeah.
And you can get links to all of that on that page and all the other places. I try to keep everything linked everywhere. But like I said, if you want to contact us, like I said earlier in the episode, geekbombast@gmail.com, on Twitter @geekbombast, on Instagram @geekbombast, on Facebook, facebook.com/geekbombast. Pretty much, if there's a place that has some type of social networking, and
just look up Geek Bombast.
Yeah, we're probably there.
Yeah.
Again, if you can, please go subscribe to the new YouTube channel. That way we can, get some things changed around and actually get more stuff going. Again, thank you, Amanda, for doing this episode.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to plug before we end the episode?
No.
Okay. Well, with that, we're out.